Prohibition era has always been a fascinating time for me. Al Capone was running rampant and booze was flowing all over the place, despite the fact that the law was cracking down and, well, hence the name Prohibition, they did not allow you to drink. Hence the setting for this little bad boy called Moonshine. Now, Moonshine is written by Brian Azzarellos and art by Eduardo Reese, so if this team sounds familiar to you, it's because they're the team that did 100 Bullets. So, without further ado, let's dive into this. Moonshine centers around the character of Lou Pirlo, and Lou Pirlo is your typical mob enforcer. He's the guy you call in when you want to close a deal. He's the guy that is really shady, he's got a shady background, but at the end of the day, you do end up rooting for him. And Lou has been tasked by his mob boss to go to this backwoods bumfuck country in the middle of nowhere to get a new supply of booze that is the best tasting and sweetest that is around in the country. When Lou arrives there, he discovers that things aren't what they appear to be, and the woods inside of this county that he's staying in, well, they have a big secret that they are hiding. And of course, that secret is that they are full of werewolves. Mixing elements of crime, horror, and a timepiece for that era, Moonshine really isn't anything that's going to blow you away. In fact, it's a pretty by-the-numbers horror crime book. If you've read anything by Ed Brubaker, then you really know what you're getting into here. It's not going to blow you away or anything like that, but it's done so well. It really is done so well that it more than makes up for the fact that it's not the most original thing out there. You're probably wondering, well, what about the werewolves, right? The werewolves, they're cool, they show up all the time, you know, they got to, they're werewolves, right? Not really. Brian Azzarellos really likes to take the option of less is more, and I think personally that it benefits the story a whole lot. The werewolves in the story only show up about a handful of times, but when they do show up, the impact is felt. And that's what I really liked about this story, is that a lot of writers can get a little bit too overdone with the werewolves, where they think, well, we gotta show the werewolves every single issue, you know, we gotta make sure that the fans get what they came for and things like that. You only really get the full view of the werewolves until about the last 2 issues of this trade. You get hints of it, don't get me wrong, and you see the aftermath of what they do, but it's really that big moment when you see that snarling beast in front of the main protagonist that you go, oh shit, he is fucked. One thing that I'm a little bit disappointed about is that Brian Azzarellos really didn't explore that time period to the full extent that he could have. Granted, this is the first trade, yes, and there's only about the first 5 or 6 issues in here, but it's 1929. It's years after World War I. Racism is still very much alive and very apparent, but you're not getting any of that in this book. It's so far removed from all that stuff, and it's so far removed, aside from a few of the accents and a few of the clothing, from that time period that I thought this could have easily been set in modern day without, you know, obviously the whole prohibition thing. It could have easily been used as drugs or cocaine or something like that. There's really no connection to the time period that it's set in, aside from those little things that I mentioned. However, I feel like that's something that maybe down the line it could be rectified. Eduardo Reese does the art in here, and since it's the same team that did 100 Bullets a few years ago, you kind of know what you're going to get. He really hasn't changed his style up that much, especially for Brian Azzarellos' writing, which is a bit of a shame, I think, because last year we really got a taste of just how versatile an artist he can be. If you read Dark Knight, A True Batman Story, you don't really get any of that experimentation in here, and I think that's a shame. It really, really is. I'm emphasizing this a lot because, man, he was so damn good in that book. To see him kind of go back to this art style, I'm like, I really want to see you flex your muscles more. With that said, Eduardo Reese draws one hell of an intimidating werewolf. These things are big, they are nasty, and they will rip your throat out. They are intimidating, and I love the designs he comes up with here, and I can't wait to see more. Moonshine is a book that has a lot of potential. It's got a great setup, it's got an interesting setting, it's got one of the best artists in the industry today. It's just a shame that a lot of that really isn't realized in the first trade, or isn't emphasized enough in this first trade. However, I will say that because it has so much potential, that I see greatness in this book, and I think it's going to be one of those books that as it goes along, it's going to get a lot better. I'm going to recommend you guys pick this one up. I rate my books on a pass, borrow, buy, perfect scale, and I'm going to give this one a borrow. I don't think you'd be hurting yourself if you went down to the library or if you asked a buddy of yours, hey, you got the new Moonshine trade? Yeah, here it is. Read it, think about it, see if you like it, see if it's for you. If not, well, you're not going to lose too much sleep over it. It's nothing terrible. If this is your first time checking out this channel, I do weekly reviews of hardcovers, trade paperbacks, absolute editions, all that good stuff. Guys, check out some of my other content. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, description down there. And as always, Patreon is an option in the description below. I know everybody and their mom has a damn Patreon at this point, but check it out. You've got some exclusive stuff there that nobody else gets to see. With that said, I love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.